everyone, and welcome to this next hour with me, Elaine Bartlett. And you and I are about to hold hands and step right on into my lovely, transformative, healing purple portal. So today, I just want you to drop all your stuff, drop everything that's in your mind, drop what's on your shoulders, drop what you've been carrying in your heart, because it's a day for healing. It's a magical day. It's a magical day to return to wholeness. I am still in New Jersey, which is why nobody really got the memo today to tune in and listen. But I do know that many people up here seem to know to tune into the archives afterward on their way home from work or tomorrow morning. The reason it's really challenging up here to get those memos out, I am working so diligently to hold so many hands up here, to bring them into a consciousness, to return them to their natural state of wellness and wholeness. And some of the things that have been happening are, well, I don't know whether sometimes to jump up and down shouting and laughing and clapping my hands, or to actually break down and sob in great humility and gratitude that things can happen. So that's why I'm devoting this show to basically a whole transformation for each of you who is listening. I'm going to give you an example of two things that have happened in this past week that it's like you can't make this stuff up. Now, it is connected with this sacred healing tool that I'm sharing up in the Northeast. So once again, I will say to you, if you are up in this area and you wish to come and experience it, you have to call me or text me or something, because it's been pretty awesome, in the right use of the word awesome, to witness. So if you want to reach me, again, because I'm not home with all of my Purple Portal 777 at Gmail access, you're going to have to go for the juggler and reach me at Elaine, M as in Mary, B as in boy, 320 at gmail.com. So my first name is spelled Elaine, E-L-A-I-N-E, M for Mary, B for boy, 320 at gmail.com. That's one way to connect with me. And the other is call me on my mobile, 321-210-6582. So once again, it's 321-210-6582. So let me give you just two little understandings of things that I've seen. All I can do is witness this and go, holy smokes. Last week, a mommy brought her 8-year-old little girl, and this little one, these kids are so lovely. You just have to really revere children in their innocence and in their simplicity and truthfulness. You know, I used to think it was much before after the age of 6, well, then they sort of learn to tell little fibs. But some of these children maintain their innocence almost until 8 and 10 years old, depending on the instruction of mommies and daddies and what these little ones are exposed to. So this little gal comes in, and she'd been here a few times, and she seems to like the hotel I'm staying in. So every time she comes in, she tells me exactly where she thinks her mother and father should be sleeping when they stay over, and where she and her sister should be sleeping. And she's really not made any accounting where I'm supposed to go. But I just chuckle at her simplicity and gentle. Everything is so wonderful. But this day, she wasn't looking so happy. I said to her, oh, darling, what's happened to you? And with that, the fingers go in, and she pulls back both sides of her little cheek, and I knew she had had braces. Any one of you who have had braces, and I'm one of them, I tell you, that was one of the most unpleasant several years of my life. always, my teeth hurt, my head hurt, my everything hurt. And invariably, those darn silver things, at least that's what they used then, and that's what this little girl seems to have, they would poke in the side of your mouth, and you'd have sores. And I was one of those kids who pretty much existed on every junk food in the kingdom. That was my steady diet as a child. So these sores really wouldn't heal, and they would turn into big sores. So she said, "Oh, I went to the dentist yesterday, and I have sores in my mouth, and my teeth hurt." And I said, "Oh, no problem." And she has such faith and trust. I said, "Here, hop on my new device, and we're going to fix that." Okay, she gets off. She's not feeling any different, but at least, all right, there's hope. And I said to her, "Now, your job is going to be to have Mommy text me tomorrow and tell me just how you're doing, okay? Because you might need to come back again." Okay, fine. The next day, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a text from Mommy. And Mommy is saying, the daughter's name, so-and-so asked me to text you. She would like you to know that her teeth don't hurt and the sores are all gone. I thought to myself, if I never do a good deed for anyone else on the planet, I'm good to go, because it was so mind-boggling. But the story continues this week, so she's done. Okay, that's the end of that story. Well, this little girl has a grandmother, and grandmother she's in her early 70s, and the grandmother calls me yesterday. Grandmother's not feeling so well. I'm like, "Oh, darling, what's wrong?" She goes, "I was doing my 6 a.m. morning gentle stretching exercises that she does with some 6 o'clock television guru. Gentle stretching, lifting, keeping tummy perfect." And all of a sudden she hears crack, and one of her ribs simply broke. Now, she's like, I don't know that you could do anything. I'm like, "Oh, of course I can. I'll be over shortly." A couple of hours later, when I got there, I used the same wonderful tool that I've been using up here, and I just applied one of the pieces of it right onto her rib. You don't feel a thing. There's nothing happening except oxygen. Oxygen is what's happening. So oxygen is gently being moved around so that the body can heal. Now, this is all rather new to me. So I've never healed a broken bone. What do I know? It takes 6 to 8 weeks, and I do know from friends who've had broken ribs, it is painful, uncomfortable, and downright miserable. And she was miserable. So I've got this thing on her, and she's resting on the mat, and then I take the one sort of spot application off it, and I put another different one on it, and afterward she kind of talked about some things and had a very good cry, and I'm thinking, oh man, she might have undone everything I just did, but I'm like, whatever, I gave it my best shot. So I left. 10 o'clock this morning, she phones in. "Elaine, I had to tell you this. About 2 hours after I left her, it seems that she was speaking to someone on the telephone, and all of a sudden, she felt something happening to her rib, as if it was kind of almost like an onion, like layers, kind of being lifted off. And for a moment, she became frightened because she'd never felt anything like that before. But, and incidentally, she knows very well what a broken rib feels like. Over the years, she's experienced different broken ribs 5 times. So she's no novice when it comes to breaks in her ribs, and she knows the discomfort. After that little wave passed, and now it's kind of getting close to her bedtime, she was really, this is the thought, she said, "I know that I've never been able to sleep with a broken rib for 5 days. It's that uncomfortable, and you're afraid, right?" She said, "I went to sleep. I had the best sleep ever. And there's little or no pain today. So, of course, I get so enthused. I'm like, whoa, let me come right back and give this thing another burst of energy for you. But today, we both determined, give it a rest. And tomorrow, maybe it doesn't need anything else. I don't know, because I don't know quite how this is working. But between the granddaughter and the grandmother, it has been, as I said, humbling, inspiring, uplifting, and pretty dang awesome. So I've been experiencing a lot of transformation up here. This tool is teaching me loving detachment. We all have a journey to make. Nobody gets up the mountain without some slipping and sliding, but everyone's destiny is to get up the mountain. And part of my life mission is, if you're having trouble getting up that mountain right now, hold my hand. Now, I want to be strong enough to be able to say that. I want to be able to have a good, firm inner grip. And that's all we get to do for each other. Let's hold hands. Let's get up that mountain. And this kind of begins to circle back. There's not one day since I've been up here, which I really am now, like the man who came to dinner. I thought I was coming for about 10 days or 2 weeks. I think now I'm approaching week 7, and the end is probably somewhere in sight, still another easily 10 days out or thereabouts, because I'm seeing what's happening here and the importance of staying put. But in the meantime, every single day, many times a day, I go back to my work within the realm of non-duality. So the sentence I'm looking at right this minute, and this applies to you as well as it applies to me. Who I really am, which means who you really am, is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Now, why would that be? That would be because you are the essence. You are that. You are all of that. You are completely the essence of whatever you want to call it, source energy, light, and it's just a flow of energy. So it's very interesting. Non-duality works with a flow of energy, as does this remarkable tool. It's a flow of energy. So it's kind of like I'm getting both sides of me laced with the grace of a larger flow of energy. And all we have to do is relax into that emptiness, because that's what it is. It's the black void. And people, even this morning, people were telling me that's hard. I do think I'm going to talk to Mr. Webster and ask that the word hard be removed once and for all from the dictionary, as should the word should. Okay? I don't cotton to that word. And hoping and trying, because these all take us out of the present, out of this immediate moment where all healing and all transformation occurs. So it's just trusting and finding the truth within yourself and understanding it's functioning through you. Now, a lot of people cannot hear that truth. In the